formula, stands for hypotenuse. It's the longest side. So when you look at your diagram, I did some of the ones on this side before, so I'll do some over here. When you look at your diagram, the first question you're asking yourself is, am I finding the hypotenuse or am I finding a shorter side? So when I look at this question, I have my right angle here, and I have one side next to it, and I'm missing the one on the other side. That's going to be one of the shorter sides. The right angle connects the two shorter sides. So if one of those is missing, I need to use my shorter side formula. Write it down every time. So it's the second one there. A equals big square root of h squared minus b squared. Now the h is the one across from the right angle. It's the 11. And the b is going to be the 7 in that formula. So I sub them in. A equals big square root 11 squared for the h minus 7 squared for the b. The third line, the last line, is to get your calculator and type that in. So square root button, 11 squared minus 7 squared equals. Okay, if it is a decimal, which a lot of these ones will be, we're going to do 2 decimal places. So that means I want the 4 and the 8, and I look at the number after the 8. Because it's a 5, that means I need to round up, and it will become 8.49. Now, none of these questions have units on them, but just remember to keep an eye out for that. If it's centimetres, you'd put centimetres on it, but these ones don't. All right, let's skip a few and let's go down to question 8. Question 8, looking at that question, the 12 and the 4 on either side of that right angle, they're the two shorter sides. I have both of them. So I am trying to find, so you can smell it now? Close it back up, sorry. Stinky dead rabbit. Guys, okay, focus. I'm trying to find the hypotenuse. Write the formula down. H equals square root of a squared plus b squared. I'm finding the longest side. I'm going to put the h here. There it is. And these two are going to be the a and the b. It does not matter which one is which. So subbing in for the second line. A I've labelled 12, so that's 12 squared. Plus the b is the 4 squared. Third line, we put that into our calculator. 12, big square root sign, and underneath 12 squared plus 4 squared. Equals, now 2 decimal places again, will be the 6 and the 4. But again, because there's a 9 after that, I'm going to have to round up to be 12.65. Okay, so that is what we've been practicing. You will need to finish. I hope I asked you to try those ones, so hopefully you have done a lot of those already. Let's just skip down to the bottom of page 15. There's these 4 questions here at the end. These questions ask us to find out if the side lengths that we're given make a right angled triangle. I give you all 3. I give A equals 22, B equals 23.1, and C, now it says C, it's just because this comes from a different book. C is the H. Okay, that's the hypotenuse. Okay, it's the longest one. You can tell because it's the biggest number. All right? So what you do to show that something is a right angled triangle, you take the 2 shorter sides, so the ones that I've highlighted there, do your Pythagoras' theorem using the hypotenuse formula, so this one, and see if you get that third side. Okay, so let's sub in. A is 22, so 22 squared, and B is 23.1, and I square it. When I type that into my calculator,
I get? Let's find out. I get 31.9. Now, did I get the same thing as that third side there? No. So that means it is not a right angle triangle. So I'm just going to write, therefore, no, it is not a right angle triangle. Only if you get the same number at the end there as the C here, is it a right angle triangle. Okay, so there's a couple more there for you to try. But today we also, which is why I asked you to get a head start, we also want to have a look at these word problems here. There's no new rules. The only difference with these questions is that we have to be able to draw the diagram to work out what we're trying to find. Are we finding a shorter side? Are we finding a hypotenuse? So the question says there, or the information there says, if a question does not have a diagram, draw one! Exclamation mark, capital letters. You need to draw a diagram to make sure that you get things in the right place. Okay, so example, both the formulas are there again for you. This one has, so the formulas are there. Question 1. How long is the diagonal of a square with a side length of 5 centimetres? So here's my diagram. I have a square. Doesn't have to be perfect. There's my square. I'm going to put the little lines on there, meaning that they're all the same size. And it says the side length is 5 centimetres. So the question asks me, how long is the diagonal? So let's draw a diagonal on there. From there to there is the diagonal. And remember, because it's a square, that would be a right angle right there. And because it's a square, that one's also 5 centimetres. So I can use this right angle triangle. I'm going to go over it in orange. And I want to find is it a shorter side or is it a hypotenuse, do you think? Hypotenuse. It's a hypotenuse, that's right. I have the 5s are next to the right angle. They're the shorter sides. I'm trying to find the hypotenuse. So we write our hypotenuse formula down. H equals big square root sign. A squared plus B squared. Subbing in A and B, they're both 5. So 5 squared plus 5 squared. Third step, into the calculator. And we're going to do the 2 decimal places. It is 7.07. This time I do have units, so I need to write centimetres on there. See? Not really any different. Just got to get that diagram first. Let's try another one. Because these are your questions that I'm starting on here. Okay, question 2. A 4-metre ladder leans against a wall. So here is my wall. Walls are always vertical. Okay, I hope. Walls are always vertical. Okay. And our ladder is leaning against the wall, so it'd be making like a sloping line there with the ground. And you hope that the ground and the wall are at right angles. We hope, okay? Otherwise there's something wrong with this building. So we are told that the 4-metre ladder, this is my ladder, remember? That's the 4 metres, leaning against the wall. The foot of the ladder is 90 centimetres from the wall. That's this gap down here, 90 centimetres. Find the distance that the ladder reaches up the wall. So I'm going to find this other side over here. Is it a hypotenuse, the longer side, or is it a shorter side? Shorter side. It's a shorter side. It's next to that right angle. So I am going to use the A equals big square root H squared minus B squared, the shorter side formula. Now there is one extra problem. Can anyone see it? Yes,
you have to convert the measurements.
Correct.
Right now it's 4 metres and
yes.
90 centimetres.
The units on here, these measurements always need to be in the same units. We can't have 1 in centimetres, 1 in metres. So you can, unless the question says, which it does say, it says give your answer in centimetres. So I'm going to have to change the 4 metres into centimetres. That's 400 centimetres. If it didn't specify, it means that I would accept either answer. but you have to convert them to be the same. So let's put the numbers. That's going to be the H, that 400 is the H, and the 90 is going to be the B. So let's sub them in. 400 squared minus 90 squared in the calculator. Okay, I'm just checking for decimal places there because sometimes the wordy questions say. It doesn't say, so let's do 2 decimal places. 389.74. And that's in centimetres. Do you need me to do another one, or do you think you've got it? One more. All right, one more. Oh, no, this is my example. I thought these were straight in the worksheet. There's your worksheet there on the next page. So this is mine. Question 3. A speedboat travels 8.7 kilometres north, then travels 11.2 kilometres east. So do you know your little compass? North, south, east, and west. You've seen that before? Mm-hmm. Great. So our boat is travelling north. So that means it's coming up this way for 8.7 kilometres. Then it travels 11.2 kilometres east. Is that left or right?
Right.
Right. So we're going this direction to the right for 11.2 kilometres. If the boat travels straight back to its starting point, so it's going to come straight back here, how far will it need to travel to get back there? Now, the north direction and the east direction, they're going to meet at right angle. That's your right angle right there. So those two sides that I have, they are both shorter sides, and I'm trying to find the hypotenuse. So I write down my hypotenuse formula. H equals big square root sign, a squared plus b squared. I'm going to call the a the 8.7 and the b the 11.2. So sub it in. 8.7 squared plus 11.2 squared. Third line in the calculator.
I like these inspired ones better than the algebra ones.
Okay. That's good. I'm glad you like them. All right, so 14.18. Okay, the 2 would round down, and that's in kilometres. Okay? So that's it. That's the end of our Pythagoras' theorem once we finish that today. And so you've got that worksheet there to do on page 17, 18 and 19. Some of those ones on 19 get quite interesting. And then next lesson we go on to perimeter.
It's not bad.